All right, everyone, it's time for the Occult video number 414, Herbalism, and a bit about Grimoire history. If there are two things in life that I truly love, one of them is herbs, and the other one is books. I think that you've noticed that I'm a little bit of a linguistic fanatic, a bibliophile, actually. Quite a collection, actually. I don't know how many volumes it is. I'll count them up someday and tell you the exact number. I wanted to talk about this though. I edited a volume of the Petite Albert, for example, many years ago. It's the only work that I've made that was professionally produced. Most of them, it's publishing on demand through Amazon. And in the Petite Albert, you'll find all sorts of strange things with regards to herbalism and things like that. The herbal medicine, there are basically several forms of what you would call a spell book, for example. The first kind is high ritual magic. So this would be like the Lesser Keys, something like that, or the Greater Keys of Solomon. It's strictly ritualism. These are designed to invoke various entities, generally of a demonic or angelic nature. They tend to be Christianized quite heavily. Then, at the other end, you have, herbals and things like that. What you would call low magic. I mean, not low in the sense of being inferior, but being more physical. Alchemical works, herbals, things of that nature. Simply twain with spirituality. And then in the middle, you actually get an interesting category of works like the Petite Albert, Holman's powwows, and things of that nature, Grimorium Verum, which sort of mix it. And some of these works actually, I believe, uh, are meant to actually fool people. Some of them are kind of a joke. That is, you have the real information. Hey, here's, a healing plaster or something like that, something for your wound, something that is real. And then you'll have something that's totally off the wall. The Grimorium Verum is probably the greatest example of this. The Grimorium Verum has various, incantations and stuff, normal fare, various herbal lore, but then it also has a ritual where you dig up a dead hanged man and take his head and put beans in his eyes, ears, mouth, and nostrils, and then let them grow, and then supposedly a demon appears and offers you alcohol, and then you go from there. Quite clearly, this was included to fool the tyro, so to speak, the uninitiated. It was included to fool someone into doing something foolish that clearly is not going to work in order for their friends to laugh at them from the bushes, effectively. Very, very strange. As far as herbalism goes, I'm very much into that. My herb bed, by the way, is doing spectacular at the moment, despite being effectively almost untended. That's because I use terra preta. You should look that up. You should definitely use it in your garden. Trust me, it works wonders. I'm mixing up more of that in a few days, probably. Um, Herbs are not just culinary, and there's an overlap here. I'll try to get into it to some degree. Herbs are not just culinary, but also healing. Many of them have antimicrobial properties. For instance, chamomile can be used in a poultice. If dried, crushed up, and then used in a poultice, it can stave off bacterial growth. It actually does work. This is medically recognized, by the way. This is not medical disinformation, YouTube. Just saying. Um, Along with other things. Artemisium, absinthe herb, by the way. Wormwood in general, many other species, antimicrobial properties, anthelmetics, they can purge worms and so forth. It's an antiquated term that most of you have never heard probably, but it's still, plausible. Um, the ability to purge parasites, things that will stanch the blood, things that will encourage blood flow. Of course, they used to use bloodletting as a form of medicine. They don't generally do that anymore. There's probably a reason for that. Although leeches have come back into favor, along with the use of maggots, actually, to dead skin and things like that, dead tissues in the body. It was noticed on the battlefield as early as the mid 1800s in the era of organic medicine that people that had maggots swarming all over their wounds actually survived more often. I mean, they might be debrided and have a gaping hole in their body, but generally speaking, the maggots did a better job than the sawbones, as they called them at the time, the surgeons. They called them sawbones because they would literally saw off your limbs. That sounds unpleasant. Then they would cauterize it. Generally speaking, at the very least, an attempt was made, but the survival rate was not particularly high if they had to amputate one of your limbs. Just saying, when you have to break the bone off and then saw it off, you're probably already on death's doorstep. If you survive, you're fairly lucky. This is where piracy comes from. I ain't got my peg leg yet. Probably get one at some point. I'm just I'll become a trans amputee, like one of those leftoids, and have my leg hacked off for no reason, and then get a peg leg. That would be rather funny now, wouldn't it? I'm not actually going to do that, by the way. It sounds unpleasant. But as far as herbalism goes, it's much more complex than a lot of people believe. A lot of people think that herbal medicine and or magic is basically you have a cauldron and you put herbs in it and stuff. This is twain with cooking. It's also twain with something else that most people know absolutely nothing about, which is literally being a barber. In the old days, barbers were also the pharmaceutical agents. You could go to get your hair cut, but you could also get pills and things like that. And pills are date back thousands of years as well. And they were the same thing. So if you went to the barber, you might be getting an herbal prescription. And before the age of inorganic medicine, before the differentiation between modern pharmaceuticals and literally getting your hair cut or getting an herbal prescription from somebody, these things were all the same. They coexisted. Didn't just coexist, technically speaking, they were the same thing. It's a fascinating subject. You should look it up. They used to have like guilds for the barbers and stuff like that. This is an English tradition more than anything else. And so the person that you would go for a shave would also give you herbal medicine, various prescriptions. And they only became semi-standardized in the early 20th century, by the way. They were still giving kids cocaine for their toothing issues. They were still giving people fucking heroin at the time. It becomes more standardized in what we conceive of as the modern age. So we're talking basically post-World War II more than anything else. The atomic era. In that sense, science sort of overtakes the old stage of medicine and so forth. As far as the grimoires go, though, you can see a progression there as well. The older ritualistic texts become the bric-a-brac texts, as they call them. Again, the Petit Albert, Homan's Powwows. Petit Albert was 1760s, I believe. Homan was early 1800s. And then you get more of the modern, sort of more philosophical magic, generally speaking, with an offshoot that becomes more ritualistic, oddly enough. You don't have many bric-a-brac works today, which I find sad because they're the most interesting that I ever edited as far as grimoires go. By the way, the term grimoire, very linguistic, is effectively adapted from the French usage of grammar, literally to spell. Again, most occultists have no idea about any of these things. I find that sad as well. That's about all. Peace out.